or rather Holbox, which I didn't learn until later. In this week's video, I'm sharing with you all of my most helpful tips for traveling to this amazing island in Mexico. This is one of many videos I have on my channel about traveling here. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Christine with Where in the World is Seattle, and I make travel videos every week to help you get up, get out, and go travel. So if you like to travel, consider subscribing. Let's dive in with helpful tips. Let's start with where it's located. Holbox Island is located north of Cancun, and it's a little bit of a project to get there. You need to take both a shuttle and a ferry, and then you need to walk or take a golf cart taxi to your eventual hotel. And this is one of the reasons why not that many people go there. It's kind of a project to get there versus other places from Cancun Airport, which is why it's not as touristed and why I love it so much. So not only does it feel a little bit off the beaten path, but it's also really, really small. This is the island overall, but the part in which people are actually hanging out on, because a whole portion of the island is not inhabited, it's a very small part in which where all the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, etc. are located at. Let's talk about the weather, because we're all wondering what's the best time of year to go there at, right? December through March are the coolest months, and May, I was there in May. It was hot. May is the hottest month, although some sources say August. Regardless, it's hot. And by the way, it's really hot out here, so I'm gonna go back inside. There is one key thing to know is that this is an island that you spend a lot of time outdoors. So it is really important that you go with good weather. I've put a link to this article below, but April is the driest month. Try to just make sure you're there when it's not raining. And understanding the seasons of things like these is important for timing your trip. And we'll get to things to do in a minute, but there are no cars on this island. Golf carts, ATVs, and bicycles are king on this island. Golf cart taxis should cost around $5 per ride. And if you want to rent your own, an example would be a $15 per hour rate or 300 pesos per hour rate to get a golf cart. If you want to rent a bike, there's tons of bike places around town, they're everywhere. But I paid 80 pesos or $4-ish per hour to be able to rent a bike. But also helpful to know, if it's been raining at all, not only will you need a more rugged golf cart, but biking's basically out of the question if it's been raining hard. It's flooding. Let's talk about the beaches. I mainly stayed at the beach that was just at my hotel. I stayed at Holbox Dream. Full review in my channel, link in the description below. The beach on the side that I'm staying on is like awesome, where you can like go out, and it's pretty shallow, especially during low tide. You can see this woman over here swimming. But what's really cool about the other side is there's like a sandbar near the beach. So it's kind of cool because like a lot of the setups are right on the beach. So you can be on a beach chair, like literally on the water. And then you can walk out and then go chill on the sandbar. That sounds like way more of a vibe. I personally love hammock time, so that's where I will be staying on my next trip, which I'm planning my return trip. If you have suggestions, tell me in the comments below, and tell me if you're traveling to this island. I'd love to know, and cheers that like button if you're getting some value out of this. Also on the north side is the nude beach, whether that is your vibe or is not your vibe, FYI, that exists. Also more north is Playa Mosquito, which is somewhere I actually really wanted to go to. And it's a beautiful beach that one of my friends, Katie Wine, totally recommends. It was her favorite beach on the island. I passed it when I was kayaking out to the lagoon, and it really did look beautiful. A lot of people like to head to the other side of the island to Playa Punta Cocos, and this is what that vibe looks like. But to be honest, it's an island that is really, really beautiful. So we're kind of comparing 8s out of 10s to 9s out of 10s, you know what I mean? Let's talk about tips around food and drinks on this island. And I want to preface this by saying these are just my experiences, and it doesn't mean it's going to be yours. And add your tips if you have any suggestions around food and drinks. My first tip is around coffee. It's helpful to know that this place is an island that's on island time, which is fine. But if you want a coffee before 8 or 9 a.m., it's basically not going to happen. And do know that places like Painopole are really great for breakfast, but don't have the option of takeaway coffee because they don't actually have lids. And if I could redo things, I would go to Clandestino every single day because they're one of the only places that has an actual espresso maker, and they have a phenomenal atmosphere as well as really great coffee and avocado toast. When it comes to drinking, I love drinking at Capitan, which is right on the water, also where I rented a kayak from, but a really great great spot for drinks and watching the sunset. I tried 2 different spots for dinner. The first one was at Basico, and maybe it was an off night when I was there, but they were out of just about all of their wine on the menu. Portion sizes were super tiny, and a very basic appetizer, main dish, 1 shared dessert ran me $140 for 2 people to eat there before tax and gratuity. I do recommend the second spot, which is Mahi, and I really loved that dinner there. Burritos and tacos with drinks, and that bill was only $40, and it was a really great atmosphere. Oh, and really good service. Yeah, Mahi is where it's at. And actually, that leads us into Nightlife. Don't forget that Holbox is super tiny, but Mahi does turn into a nightlife vibe open till 3 or 4 a.m. on the weekends. Part of the reason why my friend Ibis chose staying at Holbox Dream is because it's right next door to Tribute, which is a hostel that supposedly has really great drinks and a cool vibe. Closed on Mondays, which is the night that we tried to go out there. And along the main road where the Holbox sign is, you'll find tons of live music going on, so it's a really cool nighttime vibe, but definitely not anything like Cancun or Tulum, but it does have some really great options. Ooh, I almost forgot, going back to the eating thing, I do regret not eating the lobster pizza. I thought it was going to be overrated, but everyone that's been watching me post on Instagram about Holbox really likes that place. Let's talk about a general overview of what there is to do on this island, and you're gonna find a common theme, which is it's all outdoors, which is why it's super important to be here when the weather is good. I was very lucky. It had torrential downpour before I got there. Island was flooded out, but when I was actually there, it was amazing. And there are seasons for different things on this island, but it doesn't mean that that's the final answer. So I'll give you some tips to find out how things look for when you specifically are going to be there. The first one is whale sharks, and I was really hoping to catch them while I was in Holbox. And the season runs mid-May to mid-September. I was there at the end of May, and not one had been seen yet. They didn't start being seen until the week after I left. How do you stay in the know for your trip? I have a couple suggestions for you. One, check out Willie's Instagram. He's awesome. He was my tour operator, which leads into 2. Really great with communication. I highly recommend VIP Holbox experiences. I've linked the exact tours that I did with them in the description below. And also so you can read their TripAdvisor reviews. Really important to get other people's perspectives. The next thing people love to do on this island is the bioluminescence, which is a really fun experience. You can see from my amazing footage that it was one of my favorite things to do, but it's impossible to capture. But it's really, really fun. But the main months that happens in is June, July, and August. It doesn't mean those are the only months, but I was able to catch it again at the end of May. And by the way, if you want to see the full experiences of what these are like, make sure you watch my other video, link in the description below, so you can get a full taste of what it's like, as well as a full taste of my weirdness. I digress. The next thing people love to see on this island are the flamingos. Oh, they're so special. But flamingos on this island are generally April through October. I've got 3 activities for you that you gotta do, and these are year-round. And I would actually do them kind of differently than the way I had done them, so let me give you some suggestions. The first one is kayaking. A sunset kayak is a must. Oh, I love doing that. But for kayaking in the lagoon, which is amongst the mangroves, so beautiful and so special, I would actually recommend finding a tour operator and ask Willie and ask VIP Holbox experiences if they will take you out at sunrise. I could imagine this experience being significantly more magical. It was magical. But at sunrise, I think it would be even better. The second one is riding a bike. Oh, riding a bike on the beach is beautiful. I definitely recommend doing that. You can find bike rentals all over the island for super cheap, but that's a great one to do. And the last one, you gotta go to the 3 islands. You have to go check out the islands on the island tour. Again, I use VIP Holbox experiences, loved them. Chris was my guide, she was awesome. But one thing I would do differently, I would go out earlier. Especially if you do a private boat like I did, you can choose what time you wanna go out at, and I wish I would have gone even earlier. Ooh, and if you are at all into birds, bird watching on this island is really phenomenal. But one thing that I didn't do on this island is dive or snorkel. So if you're snorkeling with the whale sharks, that's a different thing. But this is an island that's about mangroves and not a reef. There's no reef on this island. That doesn't mean you won't see anything if you throw on a snorkel and go in the water. But for me, it just wasn't top of my list in terms of this is not an island I was going to try to go diving at. Definitely spend time in and on the water. What you need to know about ATMs. Reminds me of Tulum in the sense that every single ATM, and I went to 5 of them, and there's only 5 on this island, every single one of them is out of pesos. And so I'm really glad that I brought a good amount of US cash to be able to exchange just in case, because that is the only thing that's going to carry me through on this trip. So bring cash. On that awesome day, I did stand in line at the ATM for about 30 minutes, and I did hit up all 5 that were on the island. And again, I was not successful that day. I was able to pay for some things, such as my tours, with my credit card in advance, which was awesome. But for the most part, everything else was cash only. Like even when I was trying to go kayak and drone the sunset, Ibis was yelling this at me, which I showed in my other vlog.
Chris, you have cash on you though, right? Because they only take cash.
But some of the ATMs will dispense US dollars, which isn't super desirable, but it does allow you to get US dollars, which then you can take and exchange at a semi-okay exchange rate.
Who wants an ATM that dispenses US dollars? Then you gotta go exchange it again.
Ooh, bonus tip for you. If you are someone who, like me, doesn't like the vacation where the Wi-Fi is weak, I like the vacation where the Wi-Fi is strong, and as a solo female traveler, I am connected and my mom can see me on Find Friends. Let's talk about SIM cards. This is not an island to run lots of errands on. We found that out with the ATM, but there are just a couple places to get SIM cards. I'll link in the description below for the Google map of where I went. Oh, the lady that works there, she's so nice. But prices are basically $5 or 100 pesos for the actual card. And then depending on how much data you want, I wanted a lot of data. So I paid $15 in addition to that to get my SIM card and connection for $20. And the connection on this island wasn't that bad. It was actually way better to use the SIM card connection than it was to use the Wi-Fi at my hotel. But then again, I'm very honest, and in that video, I share that I don't recommend that hotel. Okay friends, I'm Christine. I'm here every week with new videos. If you have tips, add them in the comments below. And I'll see ya in the next adventure. Ciao.